Mr. Speaker, I voted in favour of Article 50 so that negotiations could begin on Britain's withdrawal from the European Union. But having read the result of the Prime Minister's negotiations, the Withdrawal Agreement and the political declaration, I will be voting against what has been negotiated. The majority of my constituents voted to leave the European Union, but I do not believe that they voted to make themselves poorer, and they did not vote to place their safety in jeopardy. I have not taken this decision lightly, but I believe it will be enormously damaging for the people of this country, and in particular the people of my Caerphilly constituency, if Britain were to leave the EU on the basis of what the Prime Minister has negotiated. Fundamental to my concern is that the Withdrawal Agreement deals only with the process of Britain's departure from the European Union. But after December 2020, the only thing that has been agreed is a short political declaration of a mere 26 pages, and that document is extremely vague. In other words, if Parliament accepts the Prime Minister's package, we have no real idea of what this country's relationship with the EU will be like in the long term. It will be a blind exit. It will be a step in the dark. It will be leaving the European Union on a wing and a prayer. And the real negotiations about our long-term relationship will only really start in earnest once we had left the European Union during that transition process, and Britain will be in a weak bargaining position as a consequence. That is an issue which I am passionately concerned about. But I have to say too that I've been very concerned about the number of young people within my constituency who have expressed concerns about the situation in which this country finds itself. Those young people are concerned about their inability to travel around the European Union. They are concerned about their restriction of opportunities if travel is restricted. They are concerned about the creation of a constantly inward-looking country, where their instincts teach them that they must be looking outwards to Europe and to the world. But there is also, I have to say, concern within my constituency about the employment consequences of this deal. This is an extremely important point because much of the constituency I represent prosperity, and the employment aspects of a large number of people depends on Britain having a positive relationship with our largest and nearest trading market, the European Union. This deal does not offer the prospect of such a positive relationship. There are huge problems with the short-term withdrawal agreement too, not least the weak commitments to workers' rights, which have been highlighted by the TUC, and the prospect of weak environmental standards. There is also concern, as has been highlighted in this debate, about the security implications of the transition agreement and beyond. Let's not forget that in last year, the European arrest warrant resulted in 183 individuals being brought back from other European countries to face justice in this country. Now, because of the European arrest warrant, we have seen an increase in security and justice in an international dimension. But my concern is that once we leave the European Union and go beyond the transition period of December 2020, we are by no means certain what arrangements will be in place and what will be negotiated. It is quite possible that we will have to fall back on the kind of extradition agreements which we had in the past. But let's not forget the problem that we have with France and Germany. It is that their constitutions actually prevent them entering into such extradition agreements. So there's a real concern about security and the rule of law, and that has huge implications for our future. In essence, Mr. Speaker, that is why I will be voting against the Prime Minister's deal on the 11th of December. But I want to make a point too, that I am also strongly against any attempt to take Britain out of the European Union without an agreement. A no-deal Brexit would be disastrous for the people of my constituency, and the Prime Minister should not even contemplate, under any circumstances, such a course of action. And I have to say that it is small wonder when I have been approached by a constituent who is diabetic and insulin dependent, and he is genuinely and really concerned about what will happen to his health if we leave the European Union without a deal and he can't get his insulin. Now, that concern can be replicated throughout the country time and time again, and it is completely wrong that the Prime Minister is holding this sword of Damocles above the House of Commons. This is an important decision that we will face next Tuesday, but we should not underestimate the significance of this meaningful vote. But I honestly believe that this agreement is against the best interests of the people of this country, and it is against the best interests of the people in my constituency. Therefore, I have no doubt in my mind that the best and the correct and the proper thing to do is to vote against the agreement.
John Lamont.